Cool. You guys can see the main slide.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, we can.
Awesome. My computer's lagging like crazy right now. It's not that old, so I don't know what's going on. But thank you guys for joining in tonight. This isn't our normal monthly meeting. So I'm glad we were able to get some people out tonight to talk about kind of one of our bigger initiatives for 2024, which is the Brew Club competition circuit. I suppose most of us have competed before, so I won't go through what competing is, but that circuit is going to be similar to other circuits that are out there, where it's kind of a game within the game. We'll earn points for medals that we win throughout the circuit. Those points will accrue for the circuit, and at the end of the year, we'll have an overall winner. And I think we have some pretty cool prizes for that overall winner. We'll have a cool little structure. We'll talk through everything about that today, as well as kind of the structure behind everything that we put together. I think it'll be a lot of fun. My computer would stop lagging like crazy, so I got to get rid of Teams here.
I blame meats.
No, it's definitely my computer. So our kind of thought behind this, I'll start with just a little bit of history, which is very short. About 4 or 5 weeks ago, this kind of idea got tossed out into the Discord server of doing a circuit for us. Trevor and I jokingly exchanged a couple of messages back and forth, and by the next morning, I was knee deep in research. And since then, we put together what we think is a pretty cool kind of plan for this whole thing for the first year, the inaugural year of this, if you would. It's designed to be a circuit for the rest of us. Not saying that those other circuits out there are impossible to win, but they're tough, and you really have to dedicate a lot of what you're doing to be successful in those. I mean, just look at Circuit of America, which is arguably the most sought after. That is to win. So we wanted to do something where this club and members of the Brew Club could succeed and against one another on playing fields, predators, all the way down to someone this is going to be their first time competing. Anybody can win this. We've laid out a good. What a circuit is we're going to have a schedule of competitions throughout the year, where we're going to compete at those competitions, win medals, earn points towards the circuit. So it's kind of a longer term goal, and we'll walk through all of that as we go through. So, like the screen says, the Brew Club competition.
It's been a pretty wild game so far. It's like generic football game. Like
circuit,
there's been 3 turnovers already. Like there's been like 2 punts. It's been touchdowns all over the place. It's been pretty wild. Yeah.
And then any member of the Brew Club may participate in the circuit given that they meet the participant criteria and adhere to the circuit rules and regs. We'll go through each and every one of those tonight. Just one thing we want to do, remind you guys, is keep your phone by you or get a pen and paper or something like that. Everything, I shouldn't say everything, most things in here are subject to feedback. Like I said, we had four weeks to throw. I think we have a pretty good baseline, but we're willing to listen to feedback and adjust things as necessary. We took a ton of influence from other circuits out there, so I feel pretty, but we want to hear your feedback, so we'll have kind of an open forum after the presentation is done to speak your thoughts. Otherwise, if you want to reach out to either Trevor and I, you can email us, message us, send me beer with a note in it. That's whatever you guys want to do. So definitely looking for some feedback on this, and I'll look through the chat when I'm done. I can't see the chat right now, so y'all still with me? I can't see you.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Good.
Awesome, sweet. So circuit rules. We got a couple pages of these. These rules are pretty across the board for most of the circuits that are out there. Nothing too surprising here. So the competition selected for our circuit schedule will adhere to BJCP competition guidelines. Of course, that's just to have a standard for scoring, a standard for judging, a standard for entering certain beers. Pretty straightforward. This is the big one. The point system and how we're going to score will be applied to a primary brewer or a combination of primary brewer and co-brewer pair scored as a team. So however you enter your beers is how your beers will be scored. Primary brewers and co-brewers will not accrue separately for their entries submitted together. If brewers enter solo entries and also enter team entries, solo and team entries will be counted separately and will not be combined. For an example, John and Susie brew beers together, enter them together, win. They accrue points as John and Susie. That's one profile on our scoring system. Now, if John were to brew beer solo, he enters it solo, he wins. John would get those points, not the John and Susie pair. Same if Susie would brew a solo beer, enter it, win. She'd accrue those points separately. We do this so that we prevent extra entries going towards a team. Circuit of America, when we had a conversation with that team, they would see these pairs go out and enter beers under John, enter beers under Susie, so they effectively get double the entries, and then try to combine the points once that competition is done. So this is just to circumvent that, to prevent that. Enter your beers consistently, you won't have a problem. Scoring will be based on competition tables, where organizers frequently combine multiple like styles of beer to be judged together as part of a single table. I think most of us know how competitions work, and how they combine, say, like the British beers or ordinary bitter, standard bitter, English porter. They're all as one table, and those are they're judged against their specific guidelines, but then they're ranked amongst all of those styles that are at that table. So pretty standard. Points will be awarded for medals at each table. Oh, there we go. Points will be awarded for any beer, mead, or cider that is accepted into these circuit competitions. Those categories are determined by the competition organizers, and we can't guarantee which entries will or won't be accepted. That's kind of up to the competitions. We have no affiliation with them, so if one competition doesn't accept your cider or mead or bizarre beer style, then hopefully the next one will. I trust that we picked big enough competitions and well-known competitions that are structured enough to offer most of these for entries, but of course that's up to the organizers. So we all good there? Everything sound good?
Sounds good.
So these are our specific rules for our circuit. Like I said, we took a lot of influence from different circuits that are out there, but we wanted to make this one our own, make it a little bit more cohesive for this club. First and foremost, entrants must use the brew club as their homebrew club when selecting their homebrew club in that competitions, that specific circuit competition. Entries that are not entered under the brew club will not be counted towards the circuit points. The leadership team at the brew club since the beginning has been very adamant that we don't care if we're your side club. We don't care if you have a local club on the side. This is everybody. This specific rule was put into place kind of for two reasons. The first one is that this is a circuit meant for our club members, our internal club members. Member is a very loose term around here, with kind of anyone that's on the Facebook page is considered a member. There's 3,500 of us. I don't know everybody. I don't know what clubs they belong to outside of this or who they're competing for or anything like that. So this is just a way to make sure that this is for us and for the brew club. It would take a lot of coincidence, but I would hate for some random to go through these competitions, earn enough points, and just happen to win a prize that's meant for one of us. And let me tell you, those prizes they're going to be pretty significant. So I want that to go to the club. Another reason for that is for scoring wise. Some of these competitions will have an upwards of 40 or 50 medals at these competitions, and Trevor and I won't have to go through and do all the work 100% manually. But there will be some work involved every time scores are released. Owning and tracking, 50 wins a competition versus, if there are only brew club members, maybe 10 or 20, it just decreases the amount of work substantially that we have to do. So for tracking and to make sure that this stays internal, you guys must use the brew club as your home brew club. So um, that shouldn't be a huge issue because we did circumvent most of the major circuits for this specific circuit. So there's not a lot of interference with other things that your homebrew club may be chasing. So that's that.
That is to say, if there is an exception, please reach out to Haven or myself on Discord or Facebook privately, and we can see about accommodating that particular exception given the circumstances. So just reach out before the competition ever happens.
Yes. Yeah, thank you, Trevor. There's one competition on our schedule that does overlap with one other circuit. We'll talk through that when we get to the schedule. And I know if Frank is on here, he may be wanting to get an exception for that. Just let us know, because otherwise we won't count your entry. As
Brew
long as
club
we
all
know
the way.
beforehand. What's that, Frank?
Brew club all the way. Brew
Hey,
club
there we
all the
go.
way.
Love it. The brew club competition organizers, Trevor and myself, we have the right to alter the circuit schedule at any time. The only reason we put this in here is in case of a cancellation. Like I said earlier, we picked a lot of well-known in competitions that have been around forever, and they're larger competitions run by very, very structured homebrew clubs. It's 2024. We all know the state of homebrewing, and shit happens. I don't want to get to a point where we're on our last competition and something's canceled and we are scrambling. So we have a list of other competitions that we can slide into the place of one if one doesn't happen to fit our criteria or gets canceled or something like that. This will not be used randomly or to kind of at our pockets to try to make us win or something like that. That's not the reason for this. It's for just making sure that we have competitions to enter and everything. I am going to try to touch base with all these competitions, let them know we're all coming, and hopefully get some more upfront information on that. So just in case, we'll let anybody know that there is a cancellation and there is a change, and then we'll adjust accordingly. So all of that will be communicated. I don't foresee this happening, but in the event of a tiebreaker, it'll go down to total medal count throughout the competition, or the circuit, I should say. If both brewers just happen to have the equal total medals, it'll go based off of number of gold medals, then number of silver, then number of bronze, respectively. If we get through 4 or 5, whatever tiebreakers, and you're still tied, we'll figure it out. Like I said, I don't foresee this happening, so we just have it in there, but we'll work with that one. The circuit organizers, Trevor and I, are allowed to participate in the circuit. We, just like you guys, are members of the brew club. We're just the ones crazy enough to try to organize this whole mess. I want to be in it with I want to be in the thick of it with you guys. I want to be shooting for the title, trying to outrun you guys with medal counts and scores. I think it'd be a lot of fun, but we also recognize that we're the ones tracking this and we're the ones keeping score. So if there's ever a question of validity of scoring, anything like that, anyone at any time can request an external audit of scores. Just let us know. We'll get somebody, whether that be Matt Harold or Marshall or someone's wife, who knows? We'll get somebody to do that external audit. That being said, this is going to be completely transparent. Our entire scoreboard, our scoring methodology, and then we're going to work to archive all of the competition results are all going to be public for you on our website. So if there's really a question, you can always go do the math yourself. You can do the math yourself for fun if you really like math. Everything's going to be completely transparent. Nothing's going to be hidden on this. So one more. We reserve the right to alter or adjust circuit rules in order to preserve equality and integrity throughout the competition. Any changes will be communicated. To be honest, this is our first year doing this, and we threw this together in 4 weeks. if there is an exploit that someone sees, there's people out there that are a hell of a lot smarter than I am that may see some way to cheat this system. If we noticed, if we find any concrete evidence of cheating, exploitation, kind of giving someone an unfair advantage in the competition or in the circuit, we want to be able to kind of close that loophole. This is not, again, this is not to try to give us an unfair advantage over anyone else or anything like that. This is literally to preserve and protect all of us entrants into this circuit. I don't want someone coming in here and cheating their way to the top because that's just not right and not fair. This will not be utilized. I trust each and every one of you. Our members are the best brewers I've ever met in terms of integrity and quality and honesty. I've never had a problem with any one of you, and I don't think we will. So um, just in there, just as a protection. So I'm gonna grab a sip of my beer if anyone has a comment on any of these. All right, moving on. Scoring. So I'm gonna be completely honest. Again, we had very little time to prepare. I took a few hours and researched a lot of different scoring for the circuits that are out there, and kind of compiled all of our ideas, and then sat down and had a great conversation with Matthew Harold from Mean Brews, Circuit of America Master Homebrew Program. Matt's a great guy. He's super smart and super intimidating to talk to because he's so much smarter than me. But we walked through all of our ideas, kind of got the best practices for running one of these things, going through these things, and figuring out what to do. And essentially, what we got at the end of the conversation was permission, a blessing perhaps, to use a similar scoring algorithm as the Circuit of America. We adjusted that based on our needs as a club and what we think is best. So this is how we're going to score entries. So essentially, it's the category entries, so the table entries minus your place earned, which of course 1, 2, and 3, gold, silver, and bronze, divided by those category entries to the power of 2. So this base within the parentheses, this base calculation essentially rewards you for meddling at those higher the tables with more entries, so those higher competitive tables. Think IPAs, pilsners, stouts, the ones that there's a ton of entries at, you're going to get more points just by default off of this calculation. Whereas you enter as like a Scottish ale where maybe there's 6 or 7 entries, you won't get as many points for that base calculation. The exponent here just widens that delta a little bit for us, so it allows it rightfully rewards those who are meddling at those higher entry tables, and for lack of a better term, it kind of punishes those that are entering at those lower entry count tables. Um, I have a whole graph coming up here to show you kind of what this is doing, and I'll show you those deltas and how they move. Um, but this is kind of the algorithm we came up with. And oh, it can't be the brew club without, there's a spoiler, it can't be the brew club without some fun and some crazy shit thrown in there. So, as most of us here probably know, the Average Brew series is our quarterly recipe collaboration series. What started as a fleeting thought in our first leadership meeting in 2021 has turned into kind of the bread and butter of this club, and it's kind of what this club revolves around, which I love. That being said, a lot of us participate in that Average Brew series. We all brew those beers. We all submit those beers to competitions. If you win a medal with that beer, you are going to get essentially what comes down to a 15% bonus to what that base score would have been. So we'll tack on an extra 15% of whatever that score was. Entries that take best of show in any one of these circuits will get a 25% bonus for that entry. So, of course, you're already getting gold medal because only, as far as I know, only gold medals get judged for best of show. And then on top of that, you will get a 25% bonus. Only the first overall best of show will earn a multiplier. We did this purely because most competitions don't announce runner-up best of shows. Some of them do, most don't. We figured we'd just keep it easy and just you're already getting the gold score, the gold medal score for that runner-up best of show if a competition does happen to enter it. But first overall best of show gets a 25% bump. Now, it hasn't happened yet, but if it does, and there is an average brew beer that takes best of show, you will get a 35% bump to your score. So as you'll see on the graph on the next page, it's a huge jump compared to where it would be. 35% is we'll net you quite a few extra points on there. So definitely worth it. Like I said, hasn't happened yet. I'm really hoping this is the year because I believe in you guys. And then this isn't a multiplier, but this won't be considered a multiplier, I should say. But this, like I said, this is a circuit for the rest of us. And while an honorable mention won't get an award or a medal, it basically means that your beer was good enough that the judges needed to, like the name says, mention it. It was so freaking close to cracking that top 3 that we just want to say something about it. So you didn't get a medal, you didn't get the top 3, but the judges were still impressed. You still made an impression. So we're still going to reward you points. We're essentially going to give you what the bronze medal would have scored times 0.5. So 50% of what the bronze medal would have scored. No additional points or multipliers for average brew for honorable mentions, just to make it a little bit easier on us for calculations. So honorable mention will also get points. I think that's pretty unique to our circuit. And we had, Trevor can correct me if I'm wrong, I think we had like 5 or 6 honorable mentions last year, something like that.
We had several. I can go through club statistics and overviews later if people want. I believe there's
Yeah.
5 specifically that I see right now.
Yeah, I know Adam Desso had a couple. I think I had one. We had quite a few. So we are going to reward points for that. So this is kind of our graph showing the curves based on our scoring methodology. So the solid lines here are your standard base entries, non-average brew entries. So as you can see, the gold accelerates really, really quickly up and then kind of curves off, where the silver and then the bronze respectively remain a little bit more flat. Of course, that's that exponent just driving that delta a little bit wider. And then as those entry counts rise, the scores kind of come together. Eventually, they would come together at some point here. But entry counts never get into their 30s unless it's NHC or like Spirit of 76 or something. So this is kind of where your score would fall on this. Now your dotted lines are your average brews. So you can see right off the bat, your bump is quite significant over like standard silver versus an average brew silver, standard gold versus an average brew gold. So it's a pretty big bump. Of course, those lines kind of follow a similar trajectory. Eventually your bronze right here is intersecting where a gold standard would be. Oops, there you go. So it's worth it to enter and win with those average brew beers, but we also understand that not everyone participates in that series for their own reasons, and that's fine. Like I said, we're all about you guys do whatever you want to do. So we don't want to make it unobtainable for people that are just doing standard entries to win. So those average brews get a rightful bump because that's kind of part of our club, but it's not necessary to brew those to win. Now, of course, best of show accelerates all of that, and average brew best of show, I mean, you are going to get a solid chunk of points here. Even at a table count of 7, that's a full point. So that's, again, never happened. I really, really hope it does this year because you guys are some awesome brewers. So really pumped about that. It gives some incentive for participating in that average brew. Now, of course, I got to drive you guys back down again into the weeds with a little bit more rules and regulations, stipulations around scoring. These will all be public, and I'll go through and explain each one of them. Again, if you have any feedback on these, let us know. Only one multiplier per competition will apply. If more than one multiplier is earned in a single competition, the highest scoring multiplier will apply, and all other multiplier eligible winning entries will revert to their base score. Honorable mentions are not considered multipliers, and points will be awarded for honorable mention wins, even if a qualifying multiplier is earned. Essentially what this does is what's in the best interest for the brewer, that highest multiplier will apply. The rest of them will go back to base entries. Again, most of those multipliers are for average brews. We don't want to make it impossible for someone who doesn't participate in that series to not win. So we're just going to give that one multiplier. It'll still give a solid boost of points versus someone else that doesn't have that, especially if you're competing with these all the time, like I think most of us are. I don't think we're going to run into this, especially with the competitions we picked. But if for some reason they don't report table entry counts, the following, Trevor and I did some math, and the following points will be awarded. This is based off of our average table entry count last year, divided by our scoring method. So gold would get 0.8, silver would get 0.65, and bronze would get 0.5. And then any sort of multipliers would be applied if they're applicable. I don't see this ever being implemented because our competitions are well run and use either BCOAM or Reggie. So I don't foresee that ever being implemented. Only the top three scoring entries per entrant per competition will accrue points for the circuit. We don't limit you guys to an entry cap, but only the top three scoring entries will accrue points. This provides more of an even playing field, prevents entry flooding, and promotes quality over quantity. The reason we did this, and this was a suggestion by Matthew Harold, is some of these circuits allow for up to 6, 8, 10. I saw one that even had 12 entries per person is allowed. Someone that goes out and enters 12 beers, they're spending a lot of money, they're spending a lot of time to do this. Whereas your new home brewer, which we want to encourage to participate in this, may only have 1 or 2 beers to enter. They don't want to spend the money shipping a case of beer across the country or whatever. So to prevent entry flooding, to prevent what is known in the COA world is the great Colorado slaughter that Fritz Schanz had when he won 15 medals at the Colorado State Fair and ran away with the Circuit of America last year. We're going to implement a similar rule that the COA has, is we can't give you an entry cap and say you can only enter three beers into this competition when the entry cap for that competition is 6. That's not fair to the competition. That's not fair to you guys. So this is enter as many as you want. You're going to get the hardware if you win more than 3 medals, but only the 3 are going to score. Trevor and I looked at it. This would have, out of the 102 or 103 medals that the club took last year, it would have only negated 2 scores out of that entire gamut. So really, I don't foresee it being an issue. There's a little example if you really wanted to read that at the end. One more stipulation, and this is the big one around the average brew multiplier. So again, that's our recipe collaboration series that we do. You guys have been around, watched that series grow. We kind of develop a guideline for a style. Everyone uses that guideline to develop their own recipe. 90% of the brewers don't follow that guideline 100%. We're not here to be this authoritarian figure over this thing and say, if you didn't follow it 100%, it's not part of average brew. That's crap. That series is meant to promote brewing, getting out of your comfort zone. And I think that's exactly what we do. In this instance, we are going to use the honor system for applying that multiplier score. If you created that recipe as part of average brew, if you brewed it as part of average brew, any current or past average brew styles, and you want that multiplier if you win, all you have to do is include average brew in the name of your beer when you enter it. So for those who haven't entered a competition, of course, you enter like your beer name. Everyone can name their beer whatever they want. Some of us like to have fun names. Just put average brew at the beginning and like a dash and then your name, or do hashtag average brew, whatever you want to do. That will signify that we need to apply that multiplier to that entry. And kind of and preemptively give you those points. That also prevents people from going back and saying, well, this way back at the beginning of the year was an average brew beer. I need the multiplier because that'll bump me up to first place and I'll win the circuit. So this is just a way to circumvent that. Always add that average brew name in there if you want those points. If an entrant is caught manipulating the multiplier system, they will be disqualified from further participation in the circuit. I don't foresee that happening. Like I said, I trust each and every one of you. This is all for fun. This is all to be push us to be better brewers. I don't, just like a competition, I don't know why someone would want to cheat it. So I don't think we're gonna have an issue, but I want to make sure that's clear. So that was all the boring stuff. We're gonna go into the fun stuff now, and I'll get off of my soapbox here. The competition schedule. So we went through, Trevor and I took a look at every competition that happened in 2023 that is most likely happening in 2024. Divided it by geographical location was kind of number one. All of them are kind of a consistent size. We wanted good judging feedback, and we wanted good awards because who doesn't like getting a cool shiny medal in the mail? I don't really prefer to get ribbons in the mail. I don't really care. I want a cool medal. So we really went above and beyond to try to pick some good competitions. The were selected intentionally to avoid interfering with other competitive circuits out there. So there are no Circuit of America competitions, no Midwest Homebrew of the Year competitions, nothing like that. The only one that one of our competitions impacts is the Florida circuit. So we'll talk about that right now. Here's our schedule for 2024. We got 9 competitions throughout the year, kind of bunched into three sections. We wanted to give people time to brew and to prepare in between, and then enter kind of the mass of beers that you were able to prepare in between. So we have a few more months. That's why we wanted to get this out at this time frame. So we have about 2 months, probably about a month before they start taking entries, um, to think about both Peach State in Georgia and Cascade Brewers in Oregon. Both are fantastic comps. I was in Cascade last year, didn't win. It was super competitive, but it's off of the COA now, so it should be a little bit less competitive, but we're going to change that, of course. So we're gonna have both of those in March. That's where we'll kind of kick things off. We'll have a couple month break in the middle there, and then we'll hit it hard in summer with Red Earth Brewers. They have some awesome medals, really great competition, but a really great club puts that on. That's very, very competitive. So that's going to be a tough one to win at. Um, Hot and Humid, that is the only one that interferes with another circuit. So Frank, let us know if you always wanted to do your local club on that one. Great competition as well. Same with Ozark Open Season. That's in Missouri. Medals are super, super cool. I had some awesome feedback this year. I think that's going to be a blast to enter. All right. We'll get another month break there in August. Nothing in August. Where then we're going to have the kind of sprint to the finish. We included King of the Mountain in Ohio. That is one of our, Steve is actually at the Browns game tonight that I'm watching on my phone here while we're talking. So Steve's local club puts on King of the Mountain. I know he's a judge there, very active in his local club, very active in the brew club. I wanted to throw some support his way. I thought I voted for King of the Mountain to get in. Just I think the medals are cool. I think supporting Steve and his club is cool. I just think all around it was a great comp. New South Brew Off is probably the smallest comp on our schedule. It's hosted by the Clarksville Carboys, who of course finished up their limited edition series last night, with Trevor, Brian, and I taking home some hardware from there. So this is their big competition where it's actually open to every style. And I was talking with Jerry, the coordinator of limited edition, and he challenged us to put New South Brew Off on the circuit. So we're going to do that. We are going to oblige his request and see what we can do in Tennessee. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Beer for Boobs, love that competition. The medals are some of the coolest I've seen outside of like Foam Cup and NHC and Indiana Brewers Cup. They have like an inlaid breast cancer ribbon on it that's like bright pink versus, with the contrast of your medal color. It's super cool. Plus charitable donation. All of their proceeds go to the Beer for Boobs Foundation for breast cancer research. So I think kind of twofold, we're supporting that, and they have awesome medals. So really hoping we can pull some good hardware there. And we are going to finish the year off with Copper State Homebrew competition. Another one of our active members, Shane Harvey from Discord. He's Pagan Brewing on Discord. That's his local club's second competition of the year. Another really, really good one. Shane's a big, really involved with that competition. He's not the coordinator, but really involved with that competition. I figured sending some support his way would be appreciated, and having him judge and watch a bunch of brew club entries win will be kind of cool. And he'll know that it's the circuit kind of decider, so I'll make sure to let him know that. So we'll finish up in October, and by this time next year, we're gonna have a winner of this thing. But what are the winners gonna win? That's what everyone wants to know, right? So prizes, we want it just like the brew club does with stuff. We're able to just, I don't know how we're able to do it, but to get so much free stuff and so much support. I think the homebrewing community is awesome. The suppliers are awesome for that. We tapped into one of our previous suppliers that has been around since the beginning, and offered them up the title sponsor, and they, within 15 minutes, I had an email back saying, yup, it's us, we want it, here's what we're going to give you. It's Delta Brewing Systems. So they've been around with us for the beginning. They've literally given us thousands of dollars of stuff to give away to the brew club. We've given away how many fermenters, different sorts of merch from them, all sorts of crap. It's amazing. Mike is such a generous guy. He actually was involved with the brew club leadership before he started this company. And I think it's some quality stuff. I have a 4-gallon firm tank myself in the brewery here. So they're going to be our title sponsor, and I just had another sponsor sign on today. So a little bit more about that later. Our tentative prize structure: number one, the Brew Club Brewer of the Year is going to get an 8-gallon tri-clamp Delta firm tank sent right to their door, free of charge. This is their brand new firm tank. It's the 8-gallon, of course, so it's a little bit larger. And it's got the tri-clamp attachment on the bottom, the dump valve, and then the tri-clamp lid too. I don't have this one, but I know Aaron Rodgers. I don't know if he's on here tonight. He got one of these as part of our charity drive earlier this year, sent to his door, and I know he's been loving that thing. This is awesome. It's like a $400 fermenter that if you win this thing, and it's totally winnable for anybody, you're going to get a fermenter sent right to your door. Prizes are also going to be awarded for second through fifth place. This is what Trevor and I are still working on. We wanted to get you the schedule out early, and then we have time to still work on prizes. We're in touch with a lot of different suppliers, a lot of different sponsors that we've had over the years, to see what we can get, if we can get donations or discounts or what have you. I also need to talk with Alex, our treasury overlord, to get a budget, because I'm going to be spending some money on this. Trevor and I are going to find some cool ass prizes to buy. It sounds like Frank wants to make us some custom tap handles for the top 5 placers.
And
Trust me.
one like already
Yeah.
custom made one off of a 10,000 horsepower engine.
There you go.
Valve.
So we're gonna.
Yeah.
So and Frank sent a picture in Discord. Frank, I don't know if you can send one in chat. Can you? I don't know. Those
I'll
things
try.
are pretty freaking sweet. So we'll have some custom tap handles. Trust me when I say, and I hope all of our learned brewers can attest to this, that we are going to make the prizes worth it. Second through fifth place. I know first place is huge with that firm tank. I guarantee that's not the only thing coming to the first place person. We're going to have some other stuff. Second through fifth place will be absolutely worth getting to. Looking at some small recognition, potential small prizes for 6th through 10th. Of course, we're going to have the leaderboard announced at the end of the year too, to show where everyone placed. But that'll be an accomplishment to get within the top 10 of this. It's going to be a slog to get through all of these competitions and to do well, and to compete against some of the brew club's best. So we're going to make sure we recognize that and do all we can to really promote and reward you guys for your hard work. So that's it. That's all I got. Let me see if I can get back to teams here without
I have a question for you, Haven.
yes sir.
Go ahead.
So, I mean, shouldn't it be that to get the multiplier for an average brew, you have to be in an acceptable category for that average brew? For example, a saison could be the saison, or it could be a saison with something added, maybe a fruit beer, but it has to be, you can't take a like an American Porter that we did, and then put it in as a stout.
Correct. Yep, it's going to be the BJCP because all of our graphics for average brew. Oh, sorry, hold on. Teams is freaking out. All of our graphics for average brew have the BJCP style number and letter listed on there. So it will have to be a part of that style. I can add that to the rules just so we're specified. But yeah, we're not going to have people entering it under different things and calling it average brew. It will be the average brew styles that we've done so far, and then going through 2024, of course. So by the end of the year, we'll have, we'll probably only have 10 or 11 because that last quarter probably won't be ready by the time. So I'm going to make I have my notebook here, so I'm going to take all the feedback you guys have for me tonight, and Trevor and I will talk about it.
The caveat there would be if we are allowing adjuncts as optional, then it could go into the adjunct version of that category. For example, 30A for the Imperial Stout.
That would be correct. So it would the way that I see that working, because as we all know, categories kind of overlap on the fringes anyway. Any individual average brew will probably have a range of styles that can be acceptable for it, especially when it comes to adjuncts. That's primarily where that will probably come in. Haven and I will work through the details and keep everyone in the loop.
Yeah, we'll get some rules in place for that, for sure. Thanks, Doug. That's something I didn't think of originally. I'm gonna go through the chat here.
One more caveat to that. Is it any average brew in the history of average brew? In other words, if I redo my first quarter of last year's, or is it only going back a certain number? Because I imagine the intent is to get us competing in the same competition head to head, not necessarily going back to the pale of Q2 of 2023.
Nope. If you want to go back and rebrew your average brew pale ale or your average brew whatever, you can go and do that. As long as that was created and brewed as part of the average brew series when it originally came out, feel free to go back and do those. I'm going to plan on redoing the saison. I know I have some adjustments I need to make to that, and that alt beer because mine frankly was fucking horrible. So I need some redemption on that thing, and I know I can make it good. So
That
yeah,
alt
go
beer
back
wasn't
and
that bad, Haven. Damn.
it was thin. I didn't care for it.
You
Judges
also
didn't care for it.
You also did like that tincture in your stout that got gold yesterday. So I don't want to hear you pay that.
That's true. I don't like tinctures.
Yeah, there's that.
Come at me.
So if I had not brewed one of the average brewed one, can I go back and say brew a New Zealand Pilsner and put that in competition as an average brew entry?
Absolutely.
We hope that you also then carry forth the intention of the average brew series and try to stay within the guidelines as best as you can, I suppose.
Or within the spirit.
It's all honorary.
Don't stay within the guidelines.
If you choose not to, that's you. If we see that you're brewing everything average brew and have some oddities, I might come knocking on your door asking questions.
Yeah, if we know what style, everyone knows what styles are we've used for the average brew over the last couple of years. If we start seeing shit that we've never brewed listed as average brews, or every competition you have 4 or 5 average brews in there. Sorry, Trevor, what was that?
I said my formula should prevent all of that nonsense.
Okay.
That's my.
I trust that nobody's going to exploit that in any sort of way. But really compete with as many average brews as you want. You're only going to get that one multiplier. The top scoring multiplier will apply. Everything else will revert to base. But we know who brews those average beers or who doesn't, for the most part, at least. I think most of us here on the call, you give a shit enough to give up your Thursday night to come and listen to me talk. So I think most of you guys are heavily involved in the club and brew your average brew beers along with us. So if I'm thinking if we see some random name start popping up that we've never heard before, that's when we're going to start questioning it. Any other feedback, questions, concerns I'm happy to talk through concerns. Brian Summers, what do you got?
Yeah, I saw that can you hear me first of all?
Yes.
Yeah.
I saw where you only give points for best of show that's first. And I've been in a lot of big competitions and they give like first, second, third. It seems like that if you get second best of show, I mean that's worthwhile. I don't know that we could easily add that in, but if you get second in best of show and there's 15 beers on that table, that's pretty significant, I think.
Our thought
But
process
sometimes there's 30
originally.
beers on that table.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Our thought process behind that originally was that there's just no consistency among if a competition offers that or not. I went back, like, say Beer for Boobs, they have like 10 years of data. I went back and they offered that 3-tier best of show once, like in 2000. I don't even remember what it was. It was in like the mid 2010s. So I don't know if it's like different organizers that allow this versus not. But I couldn't find comps that like regularly allow first best of show, second best of show, third, versus those that don't offer that. That's the only reason why we put that in. Trevor, your scoring algorithm, what do you think about, I mean, possibly adding something in on that? That kind of goes along with our honorable mention scoring. Should probably reward that at least a little bit, huh?
Yeah, I mean, I'd want to look through the circuit competitions that we were entering to see if they at least consistently represent that, in one way or another. So I'll take a ticket to go do that. Looking back this last year, we had Doug with one best of show. I think it was second. Haven had 3. One of those was the first place best of show. And then Eric had one. Oh, it was a third one. It was third, Doug.
Yes, and I can tell you along these same lines, it really irritates me that I get nothing on the MHP for that. So
I remember that conversation in Discord. That was good. That was for your wife box, wasn't it? Darth Maltius.
Yeah.
Yes, good memory.
I'm looking at the sheet. and by the way, this sheet is on our website, so anyone can go through and look. I think Todd, you tossed in a bunch today, which put some of my scoring off. But we have
Yes, I did.
110 medals to date for the club this year. If any of you are missing medals from this year, go ahead and toss them my way. I'll make sure to put it up there. I did do in the last like 3 weeks since Haven and I have taken over this as our day job, I suppose. I did add a number of tabs at the bottom of this sheet. So if you open the sheet that's linked onto our website, you'll see a whole bunch of data. I've put in formulas, or at least started to put in formulas to actually score stuff. So if you wanted to see how our scoring for the circuit would have worked, say across all medals, not just the particular competitions we're targeting, for 2023, I've gone ahead and done that. It didn't really change top 5 much.
How did I do?
How did I do? You got second, Doug. You're still trailing Haven by what is it, 7 points? So get those average brew best of shows out the door, and you'll get a number of points for those.
There we go.
But then after 5th place is kind of where things kind of.
I believe I deserve a multiplier. Several of those were average brews.
Yeah, I haven't gone through and gotten average brews completely. So multipliers are missing a little bit. But that'll be easier if we require you to put average brew in the name. That's where that came from.
Yeah, and when we were talking through average brew, because most of us don't follow the rules on that, which is fine, because that's not the point of the whole series. It's to get you guys brewing different things and trying new styles, which I think we've succeeded. I mean, more than we could have ever imagined on that. So if you say it's an average brew beer and you created the recipe but never brewed it during the average brew it, enter it as an average brew, we're fine. We're going to be more lenient with that, I think, than strict.
But Brian, Haven and I will
on
talk,
that
see
note,
what scoring for best of show second and third would be, and I'll get back to you.
Yeah.
So on that note, I have a West Coast Pilsner that I'm going to be entering into a competition, and as I've talked to people, it could be in a lot of different categories, but I believe it actually is supposed to be in mixed styles, according to the BJCP suggestions. So for moving forward, would that be a beer that we would say, okay, well, this needs to go into, I think it was
34B, I think.
34B, which is
Mhm.
mixed styles, which is the suggestion, or could you put it in as a something else? So
Specialty
I guess,
IPA.
I guess moving forward and maybe looking back, we should look at all the BJCP possible categories for the different beers, and then say, here's a list of acceptable entries you could put this into. You know, if you add in the nuts, then it's going to go in 30A. If you don't, it's going to, you know, because like for example, the Imperial Stout that we did, mine was a herb and vegetable, but I also have a version of that I put wood in. I don't know if the wood would have been acceptable for our purposes because it wasn't one of the acceptable options.
So
See what I'm
if
saying?
yeah, Doug, in your case, if that were to come, and that goes for anybody here, if you have a question of, hey, I have the West Coast Pilsner, 34A is not an acceptable entry into this, I'm going to enter it as a Pilsner, just shoot us a message. Let us know, hey, this is the West Coast Pilsner. We'll be good. We'll watch for that. Or if you win, you have Average Brew in the title, so we already know. We'll reach out to you and be like, hey, what the hell is Average Brew, whatever. Oh, that's the West Coast Pilsner recipe. Done. Like, good to go. So just communicate with either Trevor or I. Either one of us is fine. We'll be able to handle that. But I think you guys are onto something where we can, in our rules section, we're going to have a whole web page built out for this circuit rules, scoring, leaderboard, all that kind of stuff. We will put the average brew categories, so the BJCP categories, and then anything that they, with that guideline, could possibly be entered under. So like Doug said, with those adjuncts, if they could go in 30A or under Imperial Stout, whatever that is, 21B or something. I don't know.
I think with that, we'll put some examples too, because I think like the example that I had that we talked about last week, Kevin, was I brewed the ordinary bitter. It came out too dark, so I put it in dark mild. It got slammed as no, this isn't an ordinary bitter, but then dark mild, I got a bronze for it. Like, I don't see that as a personal problem. It's the exact same beer. It just tasted and looked like a different category. That's perfectly fine as far as I'm concerned. What we don't want people doing is taking average brew and just applying it to everything just to get that multiplier. Because if you're not brewing a particular style or particular guidelines from the average brew, what's the point? You're not ultimately doing the spirit of average brew at that point. So if you made a West Coast Pilsner and it ends up being, hey, this tastes a little fruitier than it should have, great, throw it in X5 if it's available, or put it in mixed styles or somewhere else where you think it might be appropriate for the taste and flavor of that beer that you brewed for a competition. Like, we all know that is how you compete. You don't compete what you intended to make, but you compete with what you made.
Yep. We'll track it on our end. Just let us know if something goes weird, like Trevor's ordinary bitter to dark mild situation. It just happens. If it's going to be something so off the cuff that we wouldn't recognize it, just let us know. All you gotta do is shoot a message in Discord too. We'll take care of it from there. Anything else that anybody I mean, even feel free to punch it in the chat too. Whatever you guys are thinking or feeling about this, or I mean, prizes you'd like to see. I don't know, whatever you guys want. Brian, is that another one?
Yeah, I guess when I saw New South in Clarksville, I was a little surprised. I lived in Tennessee 25 years. There's some really good competitions there. I'm not really sure how much weight Clarksville has in putting on another big competition. So I guess that's kind of a question mark. Chattanooga runs a really good competition. Forget about it. That may be another one to consider. I don't know.
So that
Clarksville is a military town. People moving in and out all the time. So I think they have, some years they have a lot of initiative and some years they don't. It's just my 2 cents.
so that's actually funny you mentioned that. When I was talking to Jerry Wood, who's kind of the one of the main guys for Clarksville Carboys, of course he challenged us to add this competition and said the limited edition series is dying because it is a military town. People are leaving, the club's getting smaller. But I didn't really consider it from that angle. And we actually had Forget About It on our list and then took it off. Um, I guess let me. I got a line of communication with Jerry right now because there's something going on with limited edition score sheets. So we're working through that. Let me reach out to him and just see what he's thinking for entry count. If it's under 150 entries for that competition, if they're not gonna allow at least 150 entries in a New South, maybe we bail on it for Forget About It. We'd probably have 3 competitions in October then, if you guys don't see an issue with that. Because I think Forget About It's a little bit later into October. It might even be our closer at that point. Oh, maybe not. Maybe
Last
not.
year
I
was
think.
last year it was the 7th.
Okay. Okay. So
What
Copper
day-
State would still. We're gonna get pretty condensed at that last push then, as long as you guys don't see an issue with that. Um, I'll touch base with Jerry and see what he's thinking for entry count, and then we'll go from there. And we can replace it with Forget About It because like that competition was a lot of fun and the medals are pretty sweet.
Yeah, I mean, I have a lot of love for Clarksville. Just my 2 cents there.
I appreciate that, and that's the kind of stuff we want. So anybody has anything, let's hear it.
I propose that as an award, that Haven has to fly to your house and clean your fermenter.
There we go. Yeah, for first place, I'll come and clean all your equipment for you for one day. You just have to fly me out and buy me beer. So for winning the competition, you actually lose a ton of money by buying my plane ticket. So sorry.
Well, I mean, joke's on you. You're going to be in cargo.
Oh shit, yeah, that'll be fun.
I'm going to have everyone pitch in, and we're going to get you 10 layovers.
Send me. I'll go to top 10 competitors. You just send me to each little city. Done. I'll take a week off of work. That sounds fun.
No,
Do
10
it for
layovers
Skip
to go 200 miles.
All right. Hey, that delivery bicycle, that thing's got some miles on it. I got new tires this year for it, so we're ready to roll for shipping season here. I did talk to Lalaman for all you learned brewers and the people that clean up the scraps afterwards. Lalaman actually reached out to me today instead of me like begging for a phone call meeting, which I was kind of shocked at. Brian and I sat on the phone. I was at work and I sat on the phone with Brian for about an hour and a half because when Brian and I get talking, it's just nonstop about everything. Doug, he said your rib rub recipe is awesome. He used it on what the hell did he say? So he did smoked elk, stuffed jalapenos wrapped in bacon with Doug's rub on it. And then he did some brisket with it. He did all sorts of shit. And he said he freaking loves it.
Brisket's the only one I probably wouldn't recommend it on. Everything else sounds good. I like
Oh,
just garlic and salt and pepper on my brisket.
he said it was great. He threw it right on the barbecue and smoked it then and said it was awesome. So he appreciates everyone who sent him some average brew beers for alt beer. But yeah, Doug, or not Doug, Lalamond, Brian Perky, they're back on for 2024. So we're going to still have some use for them. We're looking forward to having them back on, and they are going to help out with the circuit as well. So we're going to have some cool shit for the circuit from Lalamond. So can't wait for that. Anything else? Any comments, questions, concerns?
Yeah,
Jesse.
I got one. You guys good? I'm the new guy. Hey.
How you
doing? Internationally, is there an issue on any of these competitions?
Entering them, no. Legality wise, yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So I don't know the legalities of like getting through customs and stuff like that. So Shane Harvey, one of our newest learned brewers, who caused quite a stir the other day in the Discord channel, which I'm sure inevitably the story will leak into the regular Discord server. Shane actually sent
I missed
beers.
something.
Oh, yeah,
You missed
yeah. You don't
it all.
remember that? Shane actually sent beers from Arizona to Britain, won a medal in a British homebrew competition, and then they sent the medal back. So he got beers. I mean, across the ocean. I don't know how feasible that is to enter a lot of them.
It would be expensive.
It'd be expensive. I mean, can you ship with UPS up there? That might be a stupid question. Like UPS or FedEx?
Can I? You're like up in Canada?
Yeah.
Yeah, no problem. FedEx and UPS.
So I'd probably look into like the laws or the rules for shipping alcohol through them.
Technically, us shipping is illegal too, except it's for a competition, and then you have to get into like a 20-minute conversation with someone at the UPS store that's just gonna laugh at you and be like, "Yeah, no."
Which my only concern with that is customs. I don't know the rules behind that because I've never tried. Shipping with UPS
Like,
or
rock
FedEx,
the
shipping
whole
alcohol.
IV sample.
Yeah, and that might trigger it enough to be like, oh shit, we gotta halt that.
That too.
Yeah. I guess look into it. I mean, if you really want to, but yeah, it'll probably cost you an arm and a leg to send all that shit down here.
Especially Peach State from Canada.
Right? Or like the Oregon competition or something like that's I can't imagine what that would cost and it sucks. I apologize that that's the case and I wish it wasn't, but hopefully we can figure something out in the future. I know Trevor and I talked about trying to do something like comparable competitions in New Zealand for Gary to like set up a circuit just for Gary to like he could go around and compete in those where we're like faking it that it's part of our it was just it was a lot of work. We didn't
It's
understand.
yeah. Actually, it'd be super
Well,
easy because
good
there's
for John.
literally only 3.
There you go.
Yeah.
So
His
we
multiplier was 75%.
Yeah.
So we've looked into different ways of trying to expand this internationally, and we quickly got to the point where we knew it was tough to do.
Yeah.
And Will Allworth says just do it. So I don't know if you got a bunch of money to burn.
That's
I
what I'm
guess
gonna
set
do.
some
I
beers
mean,
up.
the ones I can afford to send in, I'll send in. And I mean, fuck, it's just for fun, right? Like, so.
You'll probably if you win medals.
I've done Google searches and found Reddit threads and Beersmith threads of people saying they've shipped beer across the country border and haven't had anything drastically happen. I mean, technically, from the law, I believe you're smuggling something across the border if you don't state what you actually are sending, or pay all duty taxes and stuff on it. Let us know what happens if you end up in a
You'll have to
state.
decide if the risk is worth the reward.
I mean, firm that maybe they'll have to ship Delta firm take to my house instead.
There you go. I suppose if you send a bunch of soda to the U.S. and it just turns into beer on the way, like I mean, what are you gonna do? Like it? Whoops.
Sorry. Apple juice.
It's
what
yeast
I
samples. It's yeast samples.
You're
Yeah, but like you're saying, the yeast sample thing gets flagged.
It was a yeast sample when it started.
Just state that I'm shipping homemade crafts, and then they don't ask any other questions. I'm like, just a homemade craft.
Always say competition samples or competition entries.
Yeah, something. I'll think about it. Like I can't see it. I don't think anybody's going to see it here. Yeah.
It's just hot water. I sent some hot water down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know where all that really came from.
Right. Anyone else have anything? Trevor, Adam, I know there's a lot of people on here that we haven't heard tonight. Ryan, um, anyone have any thoughts around this whole thing? You guys, I mean, is this worth doing? Are you guys excited about it? Are the prizes worth it? Like, what are you guys thinking on this?
I might actually compete.
That's what we want to hear.
Yeah,
Well, I have to have
I'm pumped.
I have to have a conversation with my local club. They're not going to be happy. They don't like it when
Yeah.
I don't put them on the name.
Hey, that's okay. We'll talk to them.
Get a better
That's
local. That's all I gotta say.
Well, I'll be president of my local club this next year, so whatever I do, they'll have to deal with anyway. So it doesn't matter.
I suppose
Nice.
the only one, I mean, Peach State Brew Off, they might get kind of pissed about that, but
I'll probably enter that as my local club, and then maybe the rest of them as the brew club.
shoot us an email. We'll get that. We'll get the exception set up for you. So if that's something you guys really need for something, we'll work with you guys.
Haven and Trevor, appreciate you guys putting the work into this. This is going to be fun.
Thank you.
Happy to do it. Trevor and I sat. I think we connected for a 15-minute phone call that turned into like a 2-hour meeting where we just sat and drank beer and worked through all this crap. So it was an idea. I know Alex can't join us because he's in Paris and he thinks like 3 a.m. in Paris is too early to get up for a brew club meeting. So
go find coffee for his wife. Like,
well,
let's try to help him out. I don't understand.
You're in the city you love and you love beer. Like, it kind of makes sense. You got to get up early to talk to some random people in North America. So
he's getting up early to find her good coffee. He has to try a few stops and then come back.
Yeah. So it was his idea. This whole damn thing was Alex kind of like, oh, we should probably do this. Like, that'd be kind of fun. Let's organize it. And then Trevor and I just hit the ground running and didn't really tell anyone else until we had all the shit prepared. And then we're like, hey, guess what? We're gonna spend a bunch of money and do this. So and put a lot of effort into it. So
now when dues come in 3 years at $150, you'll know why.
there we go. Yep. Yeah, dues are increasing already for next year. So no, we're good. Like I said, we have some wonderful sponsors. I had an email from Mike from Delta Brewing Systems in 15 minutes, said, fuck, sign us up, whatever you guys need, let us know. He had absolutely no hesitation. Lalaman had no hesitation. I know Trevor has a bunch of emails out to people right now, kind of corresponding and getting some prizes. So we are going to we're gonna have some cool stuff for you guys. I can't wait.
More than just random crap laying in Haven's basement that he needs to get rid of. Like an insulation.
Yeah, someone second place gets an insulation cooler. I'll send it to them. It's used, but it's in good shape. I got to get rid of that thing. My wife's, what the fuck is this laying on the floor? And it's been laying in the same spot for like 3 years. So I got to finally just
get it.
It's like a $70 insulation thing, but I don't need it anymore. So yeah, as long as you guys are all good. Trevor, I know you and David, or just you, I don't know who, we're gonna work on a website for this. Just to get the I haven't heard from David in a long time. So we're gonna get a website set up for this, showing all the rules, scoring, stipulations, multipliers, schedule, and then we're gonna have an embedded score sheet so you can watch those scores kind of accrue. It's gonna be very similar to Circuit of America if you guys follow that.
No,
so it's gonna
very similar to what we have on our website. Hey,
that's true. It's not
on our website. It's going to be very similar, just a little different.
We already copied Mean Brews with Average Brew. We already copied Circuit of America with this circuit. So we're gonna do something different with the score sheet. So everything will be up in a couple of weekdays. I don't know.
There's
Whenever Trevor
copying, and then there's improving.
There's inspiration, and
we're just doing what Apple does. We re-innovated what a homebrew circuit is. Let's just call it what it is.
Yeah. And we talked to Matthew.
Widgets on an iPhone. They're just it's just new innovation on top of new innovation.
That's right.
I had a great conversation with Matt Harold because I'm like, we are biting off COA so bad, and I'm like, I should probably get permission for all this stuff before Trevor and I like implement it all and then get caught by one of them and they're all pissed off. So we're like, we'll reach out and see what Matt has to say. And he was so supportive. He offered so much advice, and then said basically, do whatever the hell you want. Like copy us, don't copy us, innovate, whatever you want. Like use us as a baseline. Go for it.
That's
And
why
we
it's
did
called
so.
the Circuit of Awesomeness.
We could have. Sir, that as COA, they would have been really pleased with that, I'm sure. So I don't think they have a trademark. So
It's the
we'd be
first thing that ChatGPT told me about. So I was
Circuit
like,
of Awesome.
sounds great.
But I don't think we'll have any of those guys competing in here, so we should be good. Maybe Scott Steenberg. I don't know if Scott was on tonight, but he took 5th in Circuit of America. He is a freaking crazy good brewer. So possibly have him involved. But I think just our regular competitors are going to put up enough of a challenge. I think it's going to be a freaking good time, and it's going to be a race for that fermenter. I can't wait.
What we didn't talk about is how to get club participation in COA so that we can get higher than 67th. But we can talk about that on Discord instead.
Yeah, I suppose we were gonna coordinate some other stuff and try to shoot for COA and stuff, but then we're like, we'll just do our own thing and we'll get some prizes and give away a bunch of crap like we do. So, I think that'll be fun. Thanks, Todd. Have a good one. All right, anything else from you guys? Doug, I got some.
French toast out, pretty awesome.
Hey, glad you liked it. That one,
Doing it.
I kicked the keg the other day, so that kind of sucked. But that one took a 45 last night. I was pumped with that.
A 40. Oh my God, they got a 45.
It took. I couldn't believe that. I was shocked.
Awesome.
Like the base beer was good, but like I was complaining on Discord last night, I don't like what tinctures do to beer. I don't like that alcohol flavor. I don't know. It's just weird on me.
I like beers that you have to. It doesn't smack you in the face with French toast, which I like.
Mm-hmm.
You have to sit with it a while to like work through all the flavors of it, which I'm a fan of.
Mm-hmm.
And it was easy to drink too. It wasn't like I wasn't sitting here the whole time just torturing myself drinking it. So good stuff, man.
8.5% too. I'd drink a couple of them and then stand up and be in trouble. So
Yeah.
I'm glad that keg is gone. I never have beers like over 6% on tap, so I'm glad that one is gone because I was getting in trouble with that one.
That's what a comp is for. You just send it all away.
Right.
I have my tiny 3-gallon keg for my high gravity beers.
And that's what that one was in. And I still don't I still don't go through them fast enough, but that one I burned through pretty quick. But yeah, every time I'd crack into it, I'd end up drunk or hungover the next morning, and that just I'm glad I have the porter on tap now in its place, and it's like 5%. It's killer. So that's a good replacement.
Yeah.
Hey, porter.
Too.
That my porter turned out great. I finished the whole glass tonight. I'm surprised by that beer. So
yes,
bummed that won't
I
be
had to
around
go
for
get
the
another
first.
half.
I'm gonna have to go get some more here soon because I'm still thirsty. And it's only 9 o'clock, and Joe Flacco here better stop throwing to his tight end so I can win my fantasy championship this week.
Just think about it. It's almost happy hour in New Zealand.
In different time zones.
It's only 4:17 on a Friday, so I don't know what your problem is.
That's
Oh my God! Wow. You're
Yeah, welcome to my day job. I work with New Zealanders and Sydney Siders all the time. So, sorry, Aussies.
How the hell is it that far forward? Maybe
It's 21 hours different right now from the West Coast, which
no
means
shit,
it's,
really.
yeah.
Wow.
It's from Central Time. It's 5 hours minus a day.
Wow.
Hey man, when I go for work,
That's
it takes
crazy.
23 hours on a plane. That's not counting my layover.
My God.
Yeah. Because we're actually really close, but because it's like we're at the beginning and the US is near the end. So it's
There's a giant ocean between us.
Yeah.
I didn't know if you knew like the world is not flat. You have to like go across a water body.
Whoa.
Shit, I want to be on Gary time. I wouldn't have to go to work tomorrow. Damn it. That'd be nice.
And most of like New Zealand and Australia, they shut down for like 2 weeks because it's summertime now. So like this is they do like a mandatory, like almost most businesses will just shut down for 2 weeks. So I'm just on holiday right now.
It's fantastic.
Oh my gosh. I suppose there's not a lot going on right now.
That's why at work today we call it First Friday, because tomorrow is our Second Friday.
Yeah.
Thankfully, none of my Aussie coworkers will message me because it'll be their Saturday, and
I work with a lot of people in LA, and so on my Monday is their Sunday, and it's like the best day because I don't like they're not working, and then
Yes.
And then their Friday is my Saturday, so we're not. Yeah, so we really only have like 4 days of interaction, which is great.
There we go. There's
Well, I work Sunday to Wednesday, so I get, I get Thursday, Friday, Saturday off. So
nice.
I don't have to go to work tomorrow.
Have a good one, Will. I think he's already gone. Oh, Ryan, I'm in Winter Brew as well. I think Danny's in Winter Brew for our porter, so I think us three are against each other. That's going to be a lot of fun. I got to get my beers packed up for that.
Yeah, I dropped off before leaving town.
I'm excited for that one. I've never participated in it before, but I think that'll be a lot of fun. It's a smaller one, and I know you guys are in there, so I think that'll be. I gotta look at my spreadsheet. I think I have the porter and my Doppelbock in that. I think.
So that's the one I do every year. There was 1 year where it's an actual event that the neighborhood puts on. It's this neighborhood Lincoln Square in Chicago, and they have a bunch of local breweries, bring jockey boxes out, and they're doing tap pours at this German cultural center. So it's a broader winter brew festival, and 1 year they combined the homebrew awards ceremony at the event, which was super cool. I don't know if they do that anymore though.
Oh wow. I always like those in person. We only have one of them around here. I know Clay was talking about he'll be up in the area when that's going on. So I was Clay was thinking about coming up for that, and those in person celebrations, and then kind of like a people's choice. That shit's so fun, and I end up blasted by the end of the night, and then pay for it for a week.
Yeah, the one you're telling me about, yeah.
Yeah,
David, are you planning
It's a classic.
Tennessee?
What was that?
It's a classic thing where you get X amount of tokens, and then people stop caring about how many tokens you have.
Yeah, which is awesome. That's how you want it to work.
Yeah.
You look to apply for the one in Tennessee in my hometown.
Which one's?
Oh, the hot possum.
Oh, I forget what it's called. It's in Johnson City, still Tennessee. Yeah. Awesome one.
Oh, Gary's out of here to the pub. You lucky duck. Have a good one, Gary. Thanks for joining us.
Yep.
Cheers.
I didn't. I was actually talking to Clay about it. Actually,
January 16th.
That's on my mine and my wife's anniversary. So trying to talk her into a driving 6 kegs of beer across the country to go and compete in a competition and inevitably end up passed out in a field somewhere.
Well, let's go together. You drive 3, I'll drive 3, and then you have less work.
Yeah, what's more romantic than driving across the country to meet an internet stranger, to drink lots of beer and maybe win $5,000? Who knows?
Maybe end up dead. You never know.
You never know. And it's our 5 year.
I could be a serial killer. Who knows?
Y'all talking about Happy Possum?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did that a couple years ago. It was fun.
Did you really? Did you win anything? No. I have to imagine it's a pretty tough competition.
Yeah, there was a lot of beer.
Yeah.
And it's got to be a crowd favorite. So think sweet and gimmicky.
Really?
So throw a bunch of cereal in your beer. Done. Maybe some donuts.
Cereal, lactose, candy. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's all people's choice, isn't it?
Yeah, just make it a whole tent of New England IPA and done. You'll win.
Yeah, just make a bunch of hazy IPA and bourbon barrel aged.
There you go.
Marshmallow
Yeah.
peanut butter stout or whatever.
There's your most recent bronze there, Haven.
There you
There's
go. Look at that.
My daughter's Blue Cat, which I have her original drawing. It's here for it.
Oh my gosh. Did you put that on the label?
No, I stole from the actual book that it's from instead.
Oh.
I'll send it on Discord. I think I have it.
Yeah, it's I definitely thought about it, but I figured that'd be a hard pitch for our 5-year anniversary. Let's go drive 30 gallons of beer across the country and see if I can win some money. Huh?
You should have at least requested it.
I mean, I'll mention it in passing, but I'm sure I know the answer to that already.
I could have been in Tennessee drinking beer right now. That'll go over.
I find it hilarious because every year on our anniversary, I always miss. I'm a huge concert guy. I go to concerts all the time. I love it, and I always miss like a killer concert. I've never seen Green Day, and I love Green Day, and I've missed them like 4 times on our anniversary. Like when we were dating and it was our anniversary, I'd miss them because it's on our anniversary weekend or something. Like I always pick on her because I'm always missing shit on our anniversary, and she's like, "Well, you're not missing our fucking anniversary." Well, now I get to miss the Hoppy Possum, so that's okay.
One thing.
Well, I'm a single childless heathen, so I don't know.
Hey, that's all right. Are you guys applying? Is anyone applying here to Hoppy Possum?
I'll probably apply. I think if I get it, I think I'm only gonna do 2 entries because I only have 2 serving kegs, and I would need to borrow another 2. I mean, I guess I could borrow 6 or another 4, but I don't know the logistics of getting all those up there. I don't know. It would be.
Yeah, it'd be. I hope someone goes. I mean, that'd be super cool to just hear how it is and maybe plan for it for the next year because I think that'd be a lot of fun.
I needed an excuse to go to the same town my entire immediate family lives in to not see them.
Just invite them out, and then you have all those votes.
Push on the internet. That's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Stuff the ballot box.
That's right.
Basically, yeah, you're stacking it for yourself.
Yeah,
Trevor, what's going on? I know you're in the Discord heavily. Are you thinking about competing now?
He's not talking about me.
Which one? This is getting confusing. Yeah, I think you guys, between you guys and Shane, I'm probably gonna end up competing more this year than I usually do.
Oh yeah, Shane kind of recruited you into this whole mess of the Brew Club, didn't he?
Nah, it was more. He didn't know I was even part of the Brew Club. We've talked about it before, and I just happened to join because of listening to the podcast. So.
Oh, nice.
And then yeah. But we both judge Ash, Classic, blah, all the Ash competitions and all that. So,
how many do you guys do? 2 or do you do more than? Because I know Arizona State.
Yeah, we do the Cactus Classic and the Desert something, and
okay.
And then we do mini comps that are just for Ash members. Like the last one I helped organize was historical beers, and there's only 27 category. So,
oh, cool.
Yeah.
And you guys do Copper State is yours too, right?
Well, maybe that's it. Yeah, it's Copper State.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that one, I think I entered 2, and Shane judged 1, and and I didn't medal, so I blamed him for it. I think that was I don't remember. I'll have to go back in our conversation and see, but I think he judged the one I didn't win, so I blamed him for losing it. But it was a fun comp, and the medals are super cool. I really want to get the what is the Arizona State competition, or what's the Cactus Classic? That's the one with Arizona. It's like the yellow and red medal.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, that's the one I'm after this year. I want that thing on my shelf. That'd be so cool.
And that's the first one, right? And so that's our biggest comp. I think we had 350 this year in that one.
Oh damn.
Or 450, something like that. And then we had about 300 in the last one that we just did.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that's Cactus Classic. When is that usually? Because I think that's earlier, right?
Right, yeah. I can't remember. It's maybe March.
Okay.
So we always do I think it's an Easter picnic when we do the awards for that one, and then when we do the awards for the other one, it's an Oktoberfest like picnic that we do.
Okay. Is that on Circuit of America this year? I don't remember if it is or not.
I think it was last year.
Okay.
I,
Because I know they changed to like an opt-in, because when they put some of the 2023 competitions on there, yeah, I don't see it on their list here. When they put some of the 2023 comps on the Circuit of America, and then all of a sudden these competitions would enter, and they'd have 300 entries immediately in the system from like all over the country. Organizers were like, "Holy shit, what's going on?" Because this is just overwhelming. So a lot of competitions were kind of ticked that they were on this circuit, because that just grew way too fast. So yeah, I'm glad to see that. I shouldn't say glad to see that Cactus Classic is off of it, but at least it'll be probably a little
No,
more winnable this year for
that
us.
means next year it could be on ours, not in 24.
That's true.
Fine.
I can't believe I didn't think about it for this year. That would have been awesome to have it on this year. Dang it.
It's because you wanted to compete in it. Yeah.
Because I want the medal. I'll compete in it
We have
regardless.
some competitions that you don't actually get in the circuit, and some that you have to go to that are not in the circuit, Haven.
That's true. I know.
I'm hoping Peach State Brew Off will be decent, this year. Last year was the first year that I had ever done it, and we talked to some of the leadership guys down there, and they said their attendance and their membership was getting lower, and it wasn't as big as it was in years past. So I don't know how it'll be this year. I hope it'll be good, but who knows?
So my plan now that we kind of released the schedule and we got some feedback, I'll wait for more feedback to come in, but I doubt any more will come in after this. And we're gonna take Brian's, and I think we'll just maybe switch out to forget about it. But with that being said, I'm gonna go through and reach out to all the competition, the clubs or the organizers, if I can find their names or their contact info. I'm gonna track all this shit down and kind of go out to everybody and say, hey, we're doing a circuit, you're on it, we're coming, basically, be prepared. So hopefully I can give the Peach State Brew Off just a little bit of heads up on that.
Yeah.
I think their medals were dope. I mean, I know their feedback is rated high.
Their medals are
this
cool.
year.
Yeah.
I know they had an issue where they didn't get the medals in time, and I don't think any of the guys in the club that won stuff got their medals until I think it was like a month or two afterwards.
That's better than Styles ribbons. I got one of those.
Yeah, the beer trials catastrophe
This game
that
3
we
months
had.
3 months late, the wrong color, and so I swapped out with someone else.
Yeah, so I mean, as it, I don't know if that's they don't have the right leadership, or maybe it was just a supply chain issue thing, or that was just some of the things that I saw when I was there. The actual award ceremony left something to be desired. It wasn't bad, but it seemed like they were kind of struggling a little bit to put things together.
Really?
Yeah, just a bit. I mean, I don't know. And it may have just been, this year was just a down year. Maybe they've maybe they've moved some things around and they're going to change things for this year. But I mean, if you are looking for another competition in Georgia, the North Georgia Homebrew Competition, the MASH, the Marietta Association of Schoolhouse Homebrewers, they put on a pretty good one. I always enter that one every year. Covert Hops has been, I think they've just been struggling for members for a long time. So that may be something to pay attention to.
I'll reach out to the organizer and see what they think, and if they have any thoughts on that, then we can adjust. I mean, if it's going to be 150 entries and good medals, and they'll be able to kind of accommodate us, hopefully we can stick with that and then boost kind of the Peach State Brew Off back up. But yeah, if I know it's kind of on the downhill, we'll think about that one for sure and just adjust it as necessary.
Yeah, and that's just what I saw this year.
Mhm.
You know, it seemed like it was just a little, they were kind of struggling a little bit to put stuff together. But, you know, maybe that's just this year. Maybe they were on a down year. Who knows?
So speaking of struggling, I know Trevor mentioned, so we entered the beer trials. We took that by storm for the brew club. I think we were probably responsible for like, we won the heavy metal brewer or the heavy metal club because we had like 9. So it took months to get our ribbons. I was super pumped. I won 2 medals. I've only got 1 ribbon. I've never gotten the second one. They've emailed me like 4 times, like, oh shit, we forgot it. We'll send it out right now, and I never get it.
Did they
And
offer you to enter in free next year?
No, they didn't offer me anything. So I won best of show at that too.
Ribbon, and I was like, this is the first competition I've ever entered in my life, and if I didn't know any better, I would probably never enter one again because of how terrible it was. But I was like, you sent me a yellow ribbon, which was the 3rd place, for my gold. Like, that's terrible. Your website says that everyone's getting medals, but we all got ribbons. That's terrible. And it came 4 months late. That's even more terrible. And nice. You know, at bottle drop off. So this was my first bottle drop off for a competition. The gal at the homebrew store was like, we're accepting bottles for a competition. I was like, I hope you are. Here's your name on a website. She's like, oh, well, if it's on the website, I don't know where to put them. Does it need to be refrigerated? I was like, I don't know. Put it with wherever the beer goes. And it's already cold, so please, like, I'd like it that way. But I was like, I messaged him from the parking lot. I was like, you know, this just happened, and never responded ever. So like, I wouldn't expect anything, Haven. But when I finally complained, I think I went through an MHP, and then Annie Johnson jumped on my ass and was like, "Oh, you're only competing for medals." Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, it's my first competition, Annie. Get off my ass. You and Bill don't need another medal. I get it. I want one.
Yeah.
You get 500 medals a year, some ridiculous number. Like, you don't care about getting one. I care about getting my one. I want my one. So.
Well, there's no money involved in any of these things. So, like, we're not doing it for, like, you know, glory and money and to, you know, become, you know, crazy. It's for fun and for cool shit. I mean, so, yeah, I totally understand that.
Yeah. They were less than responsive. They were super hard to get a hold of. And they judged, and then it waited like 2 or 3 weeks to get feedback, and then they did cider like 2 months afterwards. So my cider was.
It was like such a long lag to get score sheets, wasn't it? I was in Italy, like refreshing the page like nonstop the day that awards were announced. I'm like, I want my score sheets.
So it was just awful all around, and then I won best of show. So that was my first best of show. I was fucking stoked beyond belief because I'm like, I'm like, it should come with something cool. I'm like, this is gonna be awesome. I got a little ribbon with a sticker on it that says.
Did Eric get a red one? That's what I want to know.
Eric didn't get anything. He got his goal. He didn't get shit because I beat him and we got first and second best of show. He didn't get anything. I mean, you probably got this at the dollar store. whatever. It was a first year competition. I get it. I'm like, and it took. When was that competition? That was in June, and I got this in September, August, maybe late August. It was. So it was.
Oh, I think
I
it
just
was after. Wow. I didn't even get mine until like September.
Yeah, they didn't have a clue what they were doing, which hopefully they learn. It was their first year. I get it, but yeah, it was kind of a chaos. There's a reason that the beer trials is not on our competition list for this year. I'll give it one more year for them to
Even though
enjoy
I
it.
have a free entry to it, I campaigned heavily for that one.
That's okay. That's
I'm gonna
fine.
run,
We'll.
guys. Thank you.
All right.
Good.
Hey,
See you
nice seeing you,
later.
Ryan.
Cheers.
So it was good, but no, this is a good year of competing. I think for the club all around. Clay, how did you do? I know you didn't do much competing under the brew club, but what did you do for outside of that?
This year I did. Oh man, I can't remember. Yeah, I got one. So I won the silver at Dominion, and I did
that's right.
one. The Mid-State Brew Crew had one that was. It was really interesting actually. They had a category that was. They called it "So You Think You Can Brew." And so you signed up for it, and they had 10 entries. And if you submitted to that specific category, and they put you in, and then they assigned you a random style, which was really cool. So they gave you, I think it was like 10 weeks or something like that. So they let you know 10 weeks ahead of time. Hey, here's your style. Brew it, send it in. And then, we'll judge it like normal. And I ended up taking, I think I got third, and then another guy in our club got first so he drew an ice bock.
No shit.
Yeah, he drew ice bock.
10 weeks today.
He won with that motherfucker. And I drew wit beer, and I got third.
Oh my god.
So I drew
wit beer is like.
I was doing cartwheels with wit beer. I was like, this is amazing. Wit beer is gonna be an easy, and he drew ice box, and I knew. So we were at a meeting together, and I was like, I have a feeling you're gonna beat my ass with this ice box, aren't you? And he's like, oh, I don't know. Blah, blah, blah. He ended up winning.
Why would they even include that in the style for a 10-week turnaround? That's astounding.
I don't know.
I was waiting to hear the winner squad. I was like,
zero idea why they did that. But it was a really cool competition. I think that was the first year they did that specific category, and I don't know if they're going to do it again this year. But it was really fun. So I got that, and I took. What was it? I think I took third in the North Georgia homebrew. I got an honorable mention at Peach State for my Czech pills, and I got third with a failed Kolsch that I just ended up renaming a blonde at North Georgia homebrew competition, and that was about it. That was about it. I don't think I did anything other than that.
Awesome.
But the mid-state one was fun. That was really cool to brew this random, pulled out of a hat style, and see what we can do. Kind of in this 10 weeks. But I think it was 10. I can't remember exactly how many weeks you had.
It sounds like, Clay, that was all like the 10 brewers brewed 10 different styles, and they were all at the same.
Everybody brewed a different style. Yeah.
Okay, got it.
But they were judged to the style guidelines, and then whoever got the best score per style guidelines.
Oh, so it was point based.
Yeah, it was point based. Yeah. I can't have to go back and look what I got. They were going to. They're like, if you send an extra bottle, we'll enter you into the overall
best of show.
But they didn't include because you print the labels and for competitions and you wrap them on but they didn't include like a separate label, so I ended up emailing the guy and I was like, hey, I didn't send an extra bottle because there wasn't an extra label, and I didn't want to like throw this random bottle into your competition and throw a wrench in the whole deal because I know how that works. And he's like, oh yeah, we apologize about that and blah blah blah. We'll work on it. So it was the first, it was the first year they were doing stuff like that. So, but it was really interesting.
Wow. The best of show I got was for actually an ice box, which is funny enough. That thing was 2 years old because it was so freaking harsh and bitter and medicinal, and it was just nasty. I mean, even 6 months
Wow.
after brew and then iced, and I bottle conditioned it, and it was just awful. And I forgot about it and let it sit, and it finally turned good after 2 years. So I don't know how your buddy did it after 10 weeks or whatever it was.
Dude, I don't know either, but he brought his Doppelbock and his ice box to like the next meeting after that contest, and it was incredible. I was like, I don't know how you did this. I have no idea how you pulled this off.
That's all I got from it.
Wow. Trevor, did you do a lot of competing? How did you fare this year?
I didn't do a whole lot. I did which one? Yeah.
Mine are all on the sheet, so you can just read it. I don't think Trevor put any on there.
No, I didn't. I just compete here and there. It can be hard with being busy and shit, but I did compete in that historical. I got second place for Rogan beer, which was interesting.
Cool.
That's a style I haven't really touched, and I'm curious. It sounds good in theory, but I'm gonna like gum up my mash basket, and it's gonna be a sticky mess with like 50% rye. That's gonna be nuts.
Well, that's what you're gonna do in January. You're gonna just use grits to make beer, right?
There we go. Thanks to
Believe
Shane.
it or not, I have a recipe in my brewfather right now for a Rogan beer because I came up with a name, and that's how I do it. I call it tripping on DMT because obviously that's how I make all my beers. I come up with a name and then I try to fit it into a style.
There you go.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So I have a Brewzilla, and I had no
yeah.
problem with runoff at all. Nothing.
Really?
I didn't even use rice holes.
Wow.
Wow. I have a claw hammer, and I know the baskets, like the basket micron is pretty similar on that. So I've never tried like a super heavy adjunct beer like a Hef or Raugen beer or something like that. Just I was kind of scared. I used to brew in a bag, and I could do anything in that thing and then just squeeze the hell out of it, and I'm fine. But with this basket, I really can't. So I've always been a little bit scared since I moved to this
You
system.
can always
But
put a basket inside the bag inside the basket.
so I've been
That's what I do
thinking
every
about
time.
Really?
Yeah, I do that every time, and this time I had like a chunk like that in my bag that I assume was from the rye, but I just do it to catch all the husks or whatever that would come through.
It makes cleaning, I would imagine, right? Because then you don't have a bunch of stuck on stuff to your basket.
No, I put the bag around the basket to catch everything the basket doesn't.
Oh wow!
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
I was thinking it would go inside the basket, but okay, you're doing it around. Got it.
Right. Yeah. Well, yeah. Like I said, mostly just catch like husks and whatever stuff that goes through. But yeah,
do you notice a drop in efficiency when you do that?
So it's kind of a new system, and yeah, the just going to this system from like a 3-tier, I did have a drop, but I'm finding that I need to start milling a lot finer because it's it flows so well.
Yeah.
I'm done. Yeah.
Interesting. I've been fighting my efficiency on this system because I used to get like 75 plus on my old system. I was used to that, and I moved into this claw hammer, and it's like between 68 and 70. I can sometimes now get a little bit more, but it's still been a struggle to kind of push that towards. I want it to be like 72, a little bit more. And I was thinking about adding a bag, but I'm like, God, that just seems like a recipe for disaster of just efficiency plummeting on that. But I may give that a shot now and see what I can do.
Try mill and finder. If you don't have any problems with runoff, then like I don't.
And my mill absolutely sucks. Though I think the rollers are kind of burning out. What's up, Trevor?
A 3 or a 2 roller?
I have a two, and it's old. So it doesn't really catch on the first pass. Some of the kernels come out whole, so I always double mill, and I'll mill like I'll widen my gap for the first mill, and then I'll tighten it like pretty much as close as it can be for the second, and I'll smash the shit out of that stuff. So it's pulverized by the time I mash in, and I don't get a lot of debris in the basket catches a lot of the debris, which is really nice. But like just for cleanup, that basket sucks. So if I could throw my brew bag in there, just clean it up like that, but keep the basket in just to keep that brew bag off of the element, that'd be kind of nice.
I've heard it. I don't know what it does to their efficiency numbers. I mean, where I'm with an efficiency is a lot less than all of you. I just throw an extra pound of grit in, and that I don't need to worry about it. As long as I can get a consistent efficiency, that's all I really care about.
Yeah, sure.
Because then you can adjust from there, right? You can adjust your recipes. If you're always hitting, like Haven, you said 68 to 70. If you're always hitting like in that line, just aim for 69 or 69 and call it a day.
Hey, I always aim for 69. And, you know, whatever happens, if I fall a little short, it's okay. But
it's okay. It works.
As long as it gets in somehow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just converted to a foundry, and I do the bag inside the malt pipe, and I'm still dialing it in, but I think I'm in the mid 60s.
Wow.
I think if I tweak my process, I could probably push it a little closer to 70, but I'm not really chasing super crazy numbers. Like with my old 3-tier system, I was probably in the mid 70s, but it really doesn't matter that. But just like Trevor said, I mean,
it's a couple
add enough pound of grain. It's not that big a deal.
If you're buying by stack, and I'm guessing most of us do probably.
Yeah.
Or maybe I'm the only insane one that has like sacks of grain that just sits behind me.
You have way more. You have much more sacks.
That's only the start. That's only the start. I could take you outside, and there's more. Like a sack of cherrywood smoked malt. Anyone want some? I still have 30 pounds. I don't know what I'm doing with it. I didn't buy it. I got it from a brewery. They're like, oh, we're gone. I was like, all right, what sacks do you have? They're like, I have all of these. You can have them all for 100. I'm like, great. I don't know what they are. I'll take them. One was cherrywood smoked malt. But I made the beer that I started with, my smoked amber with it, and it's delicious.
Wow. I tried a smoked Hefeweizen. It smelled like an ashtray when I was brewing it. It smelled like a shitty ashtray when it was fermenting, and it tasted just as bad when it was done, and I dumped it, and I've never brewed a smoked beer since. I want to do a smoked porter. I have it in my mind that a smoked porter with like lactose and marshmallow and like a campfire beer, I don't know. It in my mind it works. But now I have a 43 for spice herb veg, so I don't really need to brew that anymore. So
I think you need to take like a couple of grains of smoked malt and just next to the mash, and then that's the perfect amount.
And that's it.
Yeah, just
Hey, you can beat your smoked malts under spice and veg.
If I was doing like a campfire thing, yeah, I'd probably do that. I will never have a score for like the smoked beer category for MHP because I can't do it. I don't like it. I don't know why. I don't like spicy beer. I don't like drinking hot sauce. I don't like pumpkin beer. Sorry, Trevor, your pumpkin. I just can't do it.
It's all off flavors, so I don't blame you. There's 4.5 gallons of it sitting right here. Hopefully doing something. I'll get back to it in a while and see what happens.
Figure it
It's
out.
just it's hanging out. I have 28 5-gallon kegs in my house. It can occupy one for a few months and see what happens.
Okay, my wife says I have a lot, and I have
My
10
wife's got a lot
kegs.
in my basement, Hayden, and that was set up when we moved in. So
Wow.
Jesus, 28 I don't even know what I would do with that.
I went
Although,
a little crazy in COVID. Whenever anyone was like, "Oh, I got into this home beer making thing. I want to get out. Anyone want to buy my equipment?" It's like $100 for some random crap, and it's like you look through the pictures and you're like, "Wait, you have 6 kegs? Yeah, I'll take it all." And I just drove down the next day. Like, here's $100. Give me all your crap. Throw it in my throw it in my basement. I'll sort through it later. It'll probably be prize winnings for all of you next year. Who knows?
yeah, Trevor's gonna send you a box of 6
If
kegs.
you want a new mill, hey, then I can send you a new mill. It'll probably cost you more than buying a new one just to ship it to you.
That's true. Yeah. I was looking at just getting a new the Monster Mill roller set because I can attach my hopper right to it. So I could probably do that for $100, maybe not even, but I think it was 89 last time I looked at it. So I might do that. But yeah, this thing, I'm probably better off throwing all the green in a blender and smashing it to hell and then just using that. So.
Just use your rolling pin. That's all they do anyway.
Now that thing has so many splinters in it. Every time I roll out the yeast for average brew, I just get splinters everywhere, and it's just a bloodbath down here. So I do that quarterly. It's a lot of fun. Just
sounds like it.
My hands are callous now. I don't even notice it anymore. Well, shit. I am gonna hit it, guys. I'm gonna take this feedback out. I think Trevor and I will chat about this. And we'll kind of get ready for the circuit. I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. I was pumped that this meeting was able to happen, and I'm really looking forward to this thing. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Glad you guys can join us. Glad you guys stuck around, hang out and chat. Aaron, I don't know if you're at work or not, but glad you're here still too. Maybe you just set your phone down and went on a call, so who knows?
He's doing those, I think.
Yeah, is he in the helicopter saving lives right now, listening to us talk about?
Just around.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, we had that was his stipulation when he won the fermenters. He had to do a cartwheel for us on camera, and he did it, it was super cool. So he won that 8-gallon fermenter. He knows what it's all about. Maybe he'll win a second one if he can take the circuit. So
and so you can't leave. He's typing.
Oh shoot, yeah. Now we gotta wait.
He's watching the Alamo Bowl.
Cool deal, guys. I'm gonna head out, but Haven, Trevor, you guys are awesome. Thanks for doing the work on this. This is super cool. I've actually been thinking about doing something similar with my homebrew club next year, so I may have to pick your brains and take some of this and use it. So
yeah, we're so experienced at this, so yeah, we're happy to help out.
Yeah, you guys are professionals, so I gotta use the professionals guidance on this one. So
I'll bill you my hourly wage. Don't worry.
There we go. It is super expensive. Don't worry. I have to bill him every time I message him. I gotta bill him the mail.
I'll stash away some extra money. I'll use some of the club funds to. So yeah.
There we go.
I'll raid the club funds, but all right, you guys take it easy. Good night.
Yeah, I'm gonna head out too.
Hey, nice seeing you guys. Thanks for talking, guys.
See you later.